Hey Michael, what are the three keys to a successful hero journey?
I think that there are three essential components to the hero journey. And first is its health. Second is going to be your philosophy. And the third is your environment. And I think all three of those together are going to have a massive impact on whatever destination you reach, whether it's a successful one or a non-successful destination. Before we continue this video, please click the like button, hit subscribe, and turn on your notifications. That way you'll know if we have upcoming new material coming out, and leave a comment. I love hearing your thoughts, and it helps me understand your perspective and how I can create better quality videos for you in the future. So when it comes to health, the first part of health is, do you have a healthy nervous system? Are you able to process life information accurately? And our nervous system, it's really the interface on how we react and respond to the world and our environment. It's sensory, it's awareness. It's really the foundation of how we perceive our reality within us and also around us. And I want you to think of an example of like a navigation system. And if this navigation system is like highly advanced, it can actually speak to you, with the inner dialogue. And say me being your nervous system wants to communicate with your awareness and say, hey, you're walking down the street and there's like some people a block ahead of you that are like no good. Like there's, something's going down, could be some gang stuff, could be some violence. It's not good for you to go. And I'm trying to call you on the phone and say, hey, don't go up there, take a left, take a right, or just wait. But all you hear is static. You hear and you're not hearing the signal. You're not hearing the signal. And you end up, continuing up the road and something bad happens. So think of our nervous system as like, it's this communication system that allows us to interact with our environment. And so if your nervous system isn't processing information properly, you're not able to get the signal. And these can be like symptoms, right? These can be all kinds of symptoms in our body, in our life, feelings, emotions, all kinds of things. But if we're not able to like interpret what these signals are, it can end up pretty bad for us. So we got to have a clear nervous system so that we can make healthy decisions. The second part is it's literally our physiology. It's our integrity. Is our body intact? Like, do we have all the pieces that we need? Do we have legs and arms and are the pieces functioning the way that they're supposed to function? So that's another thing. So, our physical health is super important. Like, is everything running efficient? Are you eating enough? Are you drinking enough fluids? Are you getting all the essential nutrients that you need in your body so that your body can function at its optimum best? And so that's the health part. But the next component is philosophy. And this really has to do with our thinking and our outlook on the world. And this is also going to include some science. It's going to include data. There was a ancient system of education for the ancient Greeks, and this was for the elites, the rulers of society, and it was called the trivium. And the trivium were the first three of the 7 liberal arts, the original liberal arts. But the trivium consisted of, the first part was grammar. Grammar was the original, the pieces, the components. And then there was logic, and then there was rhetoric. And I want you to think of grammar not so much as just letters and those things, but think of it as bits of data, like the data in its base form. And then you have logic. And like you would take words like you would take letters and make them into words and words into sentences. Well, with logic is you would organize that data into something that made sense. And then you had rhetoric, which is the third part. And rhetoric was like a full understanding of the grammar and the logic, so you could use it in whichever way you saw fit. So I want you to think of data think of grammar is like data. You would think of logic like knowledge, and think of rhetoric like wisdom. And depending on a person's understanding of the pieces that they have is going to depend on how they perceive reality. So for example, you have the word, you have the letters that spell dog, and those same letters can spell God. You have the same letters that spell evil, and you can also spell live. And so depending on how we process the information that we have is going to depend on the outlook. Do you see Satan or do you see Santa? And so our philosophy of life has to do with the information that we have access to, has to do with the outlook that we see in the world. I think a really good example is in biology and evolution. I think a really good example of how philosophy affects how we live is thinking of Darwin and his theory of evolution. And it was really, his theory is based on the survival of the fittest. And it really focuses in on the idea that it's the strong competing against the strong, and only those are the ones who succeed and pass on genetic information. However, new evidence and research shows that it's actually through cooperation, not competition, that biology thrives and moves forward in time through cooperating with each other. There's not a competition. And you see this on a cellular level, you see this on a greater systems level with animals and organisms, that cooperation is actually what brings us forward. It's not the competition. But if you have an idea of just competition, it's going to affect everything that you see. It's going to affect how you interact with people. It's going to affect your relationships with yourself and with others. But when you look at it and say, oh man, life actually moves forward through cooperation, that changes the whole mindset. Like if you have a business or a culture and a tribe, you say, and working together, bringing out the best is a much different outcome than competing with everybody else. And so this is just a great example of philosophy. And how do you see life? What is your outlook? Do you see life as an opportunity to grow, or do you see life as just something that's just like taking from you and you're doomed, and it's just like a nihilistic way of looking at life? So philosophy, very important. And the third part of this is our environment. We have to have an environment that is conducive to whatever goals that we have. For example, if you want to be a great soccer player and you live in a town that has no soccer fields or anybody that even plays soccer, it's going to be very difficult to be successful. And so our environment has to do with the resources that we have. Like, do we have groceries at the grocery store? Can you get enough food in your system? Do you have access to people with the knowledge that's necessary to help you move forward? Are you whether in your community or whether in your home, do you live in a family that is toxic? Is mom or dad just constantly drinking, and everyone in the family is fighting with each other? Is the money low, and not all your basic needs are met? Or are you in a very supportive environment, people that are encouraging you and have patience and the time and the resources to help you develop? So it's super important that you're aware of your environment. And also relationally, you may have the right people, but are you in the right relationship with them? This person could be a contractor. You could have maybe one contractor in your town that you may need to build something for you, but maybe you have a bad relationship with that person. Maybe you got in a fight or had some kind of altercation in the past. Like, it's important that you are able to clear up or clean up those relationships so that you can get the most out of the people around you in your space. And then ultimately, so from your health, your philosophy, and your environment, that's going to be the key to leading you to whatever destination you desire, whether it's career, mental, physical, emotional, is having all those together. But what's really cool about this model is that you can kind of run diagnostics on, if you find yourself in an environment, you have everything you need, food's on the table, you have access to training and just whatever resources you need, but something's not fitting. Well, then you can go, well, maybe is it the way I think? Am I thinking wrong about this? Is my thinking off? Or you can say, well, you know what, I think my thinking's pretty good. But maybe your health isn't in alignment. Maybe you're drinking a 6-pack of beer every night, or you're not getting enough sleep, or you're not eating enough food, like those kind of things. And so having these three components, health, philosophy, and environment, in alignment with that which you desire, that's going to lead you to whatever destination you desire. And the destination is not something in itself, it's a consequence of these three being in or out of alignment. So I hope that this resonates with you. And I want to invite you to ask yourself, like, where am I? Where are you right now? Where am I right now? And are you where you desire to be? Or do you desire to be somewhere else? And if you do desire to be somewhere else, I want you to go through those diagnostics. Like, hey, why am I not there? Is it my environment? Is it the people I'm around? Is it where I'm at physically, mentally, emotionally? Ask yourself, hey, is it my way of thinking? Is my thinking, my philosophy narrow-sighted? Am I missing something here? Am I missing information that's super important so I can have a greater understanding of the circumstances and situations? And you can also go to your health. Am I treating my body the way that it's designed to be treated? Am I eating through dignity? Am I building my body? Am I fit? Am I exercising my body? Is my nervous system intact? Am I able to process life information? And by doing this, you're going to find out a lot of very important things about your life and your trajectory, your past, and ultimately where you're going. Thank you, and have a powerful day.